What's going on, everybody? My name is Matt, and this is
Jiggly Thrift, also known as Mike.
yeah. So we actually decided to put together a little podcast show and have a different reseller on once a month, and we're probably going to put the show up around the first week of every month. And we have a special guest on this time. We've got John Cincinnati Pickers coming on here. Really big fan of him. When I first started reselling, he was one of the first resellers I started watching. Really kind of inspired me to start my TikTok channel. So, really happy to have him on here. Yeah, I guess we're going to go ahead and bring him in. We've got quite a few questions we're going to ask him. A lot of stuff that I think that will really benefit a little bit of everybody, especially if you're a new reseller or you've been reselling for a while. A lot of stuff I think we could definitely learn from him. So we're going to go ahead and bring the man in. There
What's
he
up,
is.
guys?
Thanks for being here, John.
Thanks for having me.
How's your day going?
It's going good. Spent a lot of time with the kids. We did a little camp out inside the house because it's raining outside. My 5-year-old daughter has been excited about it all day long. That's all she's been talking about. So we did a little camp out with ghost stories and stuff.
Yeah,
I like it.
Nice. You actually work on the weekends or anything, or
I got some packing done today. Yeah, because I had 26 orders or something to go out. So sometimes on Sunday when the kids are napping, I'll go into the shop for an hour or two and get some stuff knocked out. Because I hate to spend my whole Monday just packing. I hate that. So I try to get something done when I can.
Yeah.
I always say I'm going to get something done on Sunday night. I never end up doing it, but I wake up early on Monday.
There you go.
Y'all feeling the holiday business picking up? I know I am.
Yeah, for sure. Typically, if I don't list, I don't make a lot of sales. And I didn't list Thursday or Friday, but I still had a killer weekend of sales. So
yeah,
that's just Q4. It's
so what you
sales
said
for sure.
26 today? Well, over the weekend.
Not today. It's probably late Friday into today. So just over the weekend, I had 26. Yeah,
that's impressive.
Yeah, it's been a good weekend for sure. So if I had actually gotten some listing done Thursday and Friday, it could have been over 30. Who knows?
Well, I had just kind of switched to doing. I've been doing a lot of shoes recently since I've gone full time. I've kind of transitioned to just doing shoes, and I've noticed Q4 isn't real crazy for shoe resell. Well, I'm not going to say all shoe resellers, but
yeah,
used running shoes aren't real high up on anyone's Christmas list. So I sold a Nintendo Wii today. I've just been selling a lot of video games and toys and stuff that I wouldn't usually sell year round, I guess.
I would think that running shoes might pick up in January when everybody's got their resolutions and everything.
Yeah.
Coming. Do you follow? There's 2 shoe people I know on YouTube that are really big into it. Very, very smart. One is Renzy. I think it's RNZY. It's husband and wife.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other person is Flip the World. I was on his channel.
Chris.
Yeah, Chris in Houston.
Yeah.
And that dude just crushes it with shoes.
Yeah.
So I'm sure there's plenty to learn from both of them.
Yeah. Chris has been he's been buying big giant wholesale lots of brand new shoes. I mean it's crazy. It's just he's like a literal shoe store. Him and his wife.
Yeah.
They're that's kind of like the dream. Just unlimited inventory. It's all brand new in the box.
Yeah.
So
yeah, he's a smart guy. He definitely seems like he knows what he's doing, and he's got a great connection. I don't think he's going to let it go. A lot of people, might have the capital to buy one pallet or do that one time, but to do it over and over is a very tricky thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was wondering where he's getting it all, but I guess he's getting it from stores or something like that, maybe liquidation.
I think he's got some kind of connection. I mean, he probably won't divulge too much of that, which is smart. You know what I mean? There's only so much you can say on YouTube without shooting yourself right in the foot.
Yeah.
Yep. No, I totally hear you. Something I was going to ask you. How's the antique booth going? You still doing that?
So I closed my antique booth. I had 2 of them. I had them for, I'm trying to think. I think it was a year and a half I had them for. I started them at a bad time. I started them January of 2020. So January good in February, and they had to obviously close the whole thing down for 3 months. But no, it was really good. I the way I treated them was I only put things in there that I couldn't put on eBay, whether it was like, big framed artwork or like some small furniture pieces, or just some things that I didn't think were really worth putting on eBay that could maybe get $5 or $10 in the booth. I would just put them in there, and I did good. Like I profited anywhere from like $500 to $700 a month on average. Rent was expensive. Rent was $350 plus 7% of the sale. And then when I got my shop that I'm in now, I had this whole second floor, and I'm like, I'm just going to do a monthly sale at my shop because my antique booth was like a 30-minute drive, and I'm like, I don't want to waste an hour with all that, and I'm paying rent at my new place, so I don't want to pay more rent on my antique booths. So I've been in my new place since June. I've had, I think, 4 or 5 sales.
And you just had one recently, right?
Yeah, this past, what was it, the 20th of November? It was the week before Thanksgiving. And it did really well. Like we did just under $1,000 in sales. So I was really happy with that.
Yeah, that's nice. I've got a booth too, and it's about 25, 30 minutes from me. So I totally understand. And
yeah,
I really like it. There's just like over 100 vendors in there, and I'm like way in the back, and I just feel like the sales are good, but I feel like it could be better, But if I had my own place and I was selling out of too, I would totally make the switch. So I actually, after I asked that question, I was like, I just remembered you had the shop and you were selling everything out of there now. But that's awesome.
Yeah, the booths have a lot of perks to it. You're not worried about manning a store like 10 to 6 or whatever that it's open. Like they just take care of that and you pay the percentage. Like you don't have all that overhead. So there's definitely a lot of pros to it.
I buy so much stuff cheap from garage sales. I know you probably do too, that you don't look up. And when I get ready to go list it on eBay, I see like a bunch listed and not a lot selling. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to put it in the booth for what it's selling for minus shipping, or just make it really cheap. And like you said, stuff like picture frames or big things, I just don't want to deal with shipping. Lately, I've been putting some more glassware in there. Like I had a bunch of Visions cookware and Pyrex percolators and stuff like that. And I'm like, I can sell those things easily online, but it's so much work shipping them and packing material. Right. You know what? I'm gonna just try put them in there and see how it goes. So I totally hear you. But
I have never had an antique booth. I'm sorry.
No,
they look so fun to set up. I don't know if I'd, be really into the upkeep with between shipping and sourcing and stuff. I mean, I guess you could kind of source in the antique booth if you needed to, but like, I don't know. I just never really got into it. I don't do many yard sales though. I pretty much just strictly Goodwill.
You do Goodwill. Yeah, we Cincinnati has really, really good garage sales. I'm very fortunate, but the thrift stores here are not great. They're not very good. I see the deals you guys get from thrift stores, and I'm like, there is zero chance it would be priced that cheap in my thrift store. Just no chance at all.
No, look. A lot of people think my thrift stores are good, but literally, like, I've got maybe one good thrift store, and all the rest are really tough to do. Like, I bought a lot of stuff from garage sales. I don't want to get into that too much because I'm going to ask you a question about that kind of in a minute. But I don't know. I've been still going out thrifting some, but it's not that great. The garage sales are great. And that's the one thing. It's like, I don't want to move because I can go to garage sales pretty much any day of the week here. It's crazy. But
are you in New Orleans?
Huh?
Are you in New Orleans?
Oh, no, I used to live there. I'm in Sioux Falls, South Dakota.
Oh, okay.
So
how far are you from Osborne to thrift?
I'm not sure. Where are they located?
He lives in Idaho. I guess you're probably a pretty good ways away from him, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm pretty good ways away, yeah. I was in Mississippi just last year. I moved here last year, and that's what kind of happened. My mom used to have antique booths growing up and stuff, and I was around that some, but I was walking my dog one day, and I went to a garage sale, and there was like nothing there. And when I was getting ready to leave, I saw this. It was what was it? I think it was a Callaway golf bag. It was like practically brand new, like never used, for $3.50. And it was kind of like a low end quality one. And I picked it up and I put it on Facebook Marketplace and sold it that night. And then probably that same night I found you on YouTube. And then ever since then I started.
No kidding.
Yeah. Ever since then I started watching you
funny.
and Lonnie and Kevin, Commonwealth Picker, and And then I just started. I was playing around. I used to have another TikTok channel, and I was like, I just started showing stuff I found at garage sales, and then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do like these guys do on YouTube garage sales, but I'm gonna do it in like a TikTok format, and then that's what happened. So
That's cool. I'm glad you brought up TikTok because I've been following you guys for at least a few months now, and like I've been following different resellers, but I just didn't know if I really wanted to take the plunge into making videos. And I did put a video out, but it's kind of just for fun. I just want to kind of have fun with it right now. I don't really know what I want to do with it, but it's looking like it's going to be the future. I was talking to my friend Tommy Bernard, and he said that this past month, I think it was November or October, TikTok passed YouTube for watch minutes for the first time ever.
oh,
Wow.
Which is
I didn't even know that. We've both been talking so much about, trying to get into YouTube more, like not get away from TikTok, but maybe split our time up a little bit between two.
From what I can see, they're completely different animals, like just night and day. That's why like I'm so hesitant to really jump into TikTok, because I don't really know what I want to put on there or like how I would even go about it, because the audiences are different. Content has to be way different. It's just, I don't know. It's hard to wrap my head around for sure. I enjoy watching them. They're super entertaining. I love watching your guys' videos, but I'm just like, how would I want to go about this?
I'll tell you this. TikTok is like all about viral hits. Okay. So if you're putting up stuff that's not, like I put up a video today about go check out this YouTube video I put up, that's not going to do it, but putting up like something crazy that happened, that's what people want to see,
And it always seems to be like the weirdest thing that takes off. Like I had a video perform well about shoe insoles and one perform well about Thomas trains, like just the weirdest stuff, like
your shoe insole one. I watched it and I was like, wait, what? Like it's so crazy. I've been reselling for a really long time, but the way I've grown my business and I've become a better reseller is because I know that I don't know everything, and I'm just constantly trying to learn from different people. I love watching YouTube videos, and I've learned from so many TikToks. So when you were talking about the insoles, like never in my wildest dreams would I have guessed that somebody would be buying used insoles. That's just crazy to me.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. Yeah.
For so much money too, $100 for insoles.
Yeah, that's nuts. That's so crazy.
Yeah, now you're gonna be checking inside the shoes in the thrift store.
I always do, even if the shoes are overpriced. I'm looking inside, seeing if maybe someone slipped a 20 or something under the insole. Maybe some I don't know. Make the most out of it.
Yeah, I definitely think there's a lot of potential with TikTok. If you can grow fast and grow big on there, then you definitely have a lot of potential. You can maybe push that onto your other channels. You could advertise your YouTube and things like that. I think that over time, I think maybe YouTube when they first started maybe wasn't maybe the best for creators. I feel like I've heard that before, and they got better over the years. So TikTok may be kind of that same thing, but yeah, it is a whole different animal than YouTube. I totally agree with that.
I haven't looked at the audience, but I would venture to guess that the TikTok audience is a lot younger than YouTube.
Yeah. I think it will change though over time. I've been hearing a lot more about older people getting on there, and stuff. So, because YouTube used to be the same way for me years ago. I remember when I was first starting on YouTube, I remember people like, it's crazy because everybody knows what YouTube is now. Everybody watches YouTube, but a long time ago, it used to be like, oh, I've never tried YouTube. I never go on there.
Right.
And now people go on there for, how do I fix my sink? Like everything. Yeah. So
that's the number one thing searched on YouTube is how to.
Yeah.
At least it used to be anyways.
Yeah. That's the thing with TikTok. I wonder how are they going to get the keyword searches to pull up certain videos, and because your videos on TikTok, what happens is they go really big and then they die down, versus YouTube, they keep growing. So it's but they can kind of come back or continue on, like trickle on, but
get a second life.
Do you want to jump into some of the questions?
Yeah, I was going to say, John,
because we're kind of talking about YouTube, and the first question kind of is about your YouTube channel. So is it all right if I just jump in?
No, it's
Yeah,
fine,
go for it.
All right. So I guess what helped make your channel what it is today? Like, what did you do a certain style of video that, you noticed a big increase? Was it, did you get a new camera or something? What was it that, like, you saw that your channel was different and like taking off?
I would attribute it to two things. First thing is my buddy Justin from the RVA Flips channel got a clip for his GoPro that he would wear a backpack and he would clip it to his shoulder strap. And then you could get like the point of view of him like going to the sales, and you have both hands free. And I was at the time I was holding my GoPro as I'm walking around the sales, trying to be inconspicuous, and I was like, this is genius. So I started I got the clip and started doing that, and that was one thing that really helped. And then the other thing, I just got really good advice. I don't know if you guys have seen Steve and Steph Resell Killers. They have a big YouTube channel, 2 big YouTube channels actually. They do a lot of dumpster diving, and he was just like, you got to change your titles up like this, because my titles were like, Saturday garage sale haul, like come garage selling with me, just things like that are really only targeted to people that are resellers. And to grow, you get to get out of that space. You guys know your viral videos, you're getting comments from people that have no idea what you're doing, and I'm sure they're accusing you of charging too much or not paying enough or whatever it is, because they don't understand what it is we do. But that's the balance that comes with it, of those videos. Like, you grow outside the space and your thing blows up, and then you got to deal with the people that don't really understand what it is you're doing.
Now, how long, like, after you started, would you say that you took off? Would you say like it was were you like, stuck in one place for a while, or was it just kind of instant success, like after you got those tips?
No, I had been doing it like 2 years when my channel kind of took off. Like, I was stuck around 7,000 subscribers for a 9-month period, a really long period. And it's really typical because the resellers that watch YouTube videos, there's only so many of us, you know what I mean? There's only so many people that are reselling and that are watching YouTube videos. And it seems like about the 10K mark is the plateau of, like, if you're just targeting resellers, you're mostly going to plateau around 10K, maybe 20K, something like that. And it was about 2 years in that I just started changing up my titles a little bit, my thumbnails, and kind of took off.
It's good.
Right. I will say with TikTok, I don't really talk about this much, but with YouTube putting in the titles and stuff, I have to almost do that in the video. Like, I purposely say things a certain way, or I put things in there to make people want to leave a comment or something like that. So I have to like be really creative with that as well. But yeah, I totally agree with you. Like, I've seen you do it all the time. Like, this lady tried to butt in front of me at a garage sale, when I was about to get something I really wanted to buy. So stuff like that, definitely makes people like keep scrolling, and then they're like, I'm really curious to see what that is, and then they go and click on it. So clickbait, pretty much.
Some people call it clickbait, but as long as I deliver on the title, then I don't consider it clickbait. But that's just me.
Agree,
like, it doesn't really bother me. The idea is for them to click anyways.
Right.
Exactly.
I agree. Yep. All right, I'll get into my question. Is, all right, if you could sell one thing, what would it be and why?
Video games, because they're easy to list, they're easy to ship, they have a very low return rate, they sell for good money, there's a huge demand, and I'm pretty nostalgic for them. I don't play games now, but I played a lot of video games as a kid, so I always like flipping video games.
I remember you got those the sealed games a while back. I don't remember what system they were for, but I remember you auctioned them off for thousands of dollars.
Most of them weren't even they weren't sealed. They were complete with box. Like, they had the styrofoam and everything.
Oh,
that
wow.
was wild. Like, I had such a hard time finding comps for it, because this was like, I don't know, 9 months ago. It's been a while. And the grading of the games, I feel like, was kind of right in the midst of taking off. I could be off base because I've never graded games, but it seems like it's gotten really popular in the last year.
Yeah, it really does.
When I was looking at sold comps of the games, like, it was all over the place. Some were like 30 or 40, and then some were in the hundreds. I was just like, why is this so different? And all the boxes were just mint. I'm like,
Yeah.
you know what? I'm going to do an auction with these because I knew there was a huge demand for them, and it was hard to pinpoint a value. It's like, let's just auction them, and yeah, they did really well.
I thought maybe you'd say gold or something like that. So you got
Oh
me
yeah. Well, I don't even know. Will eBay let you sell gold and coins and stuff? Now that they got since they took over the money thing from PayPal, there was a bunch of stuff they wouldn't let you sell for a while, and coins.
Oh, really?
I know was one of them. Yeah, they might let you do it now. I don't know.
Huh.
Yeah, I never even heard that. I've never come across money to sell, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I have been trying to step up my game with jewelry lately. I feel like there's a lot of missed potential in jewelry and little knickknacks and stuff like that I come across.
Yeah, for sure.
Cheaper garage sales.
So I guess as far as your listings go on eBay, what's your your editing process? Do you kind of just list and forget about it? Do you go back and change prices? Do you do the easy pricing? Do you
So I don't do any kind of promotions. I have like promotions on a couple things that are like super long tail. I'm pulling up my phone because I've got a note in here for my sale that I run. So the first 30 days I leave it alone. 31 to 60 days I do 15% off. 61 to 90 days I do 25% off, and then like a few more tiers basically. Anything that's 6 months and older I do 50% off because I really like to move stuff quick. And the way I do that is I do one sale every week. You mentioned Lonnie Shed Flips, my buddy. He's the one that told me about this. I was like, I need to start doing it. So every Monday morning I run a week-long sale. That way the items that are getting older each week, I'm having the right sale for those. And I move stuff really well that way.
It sounds extremely like calculated and really
for
out.
Sure. I might be leaving a little bit of money on the table, but I don't think I'm leaving much. And I just buy so much stuff that I got to make room. Like it's got to be a process. I don't want to hold on to stuff for years. That's definitely not my model.
I've been, I guess, listing stuff consistently for a year or so now, a year and a few months. And yeah, I just started getting into just going back and revising, and it's crazy how many, sales you can make, just things you thought were dead in your store,
Oh yeah,
for
sure.
They sell. So I wanted to make sure I asked about that. I might have to switch up my my system because
I've actually never ran a sale. I know people have done it and everything really well. I normally just late at night, every few days, I just kind of go through my listings and I see that something's been sitting there for a while, and I just keep slowly lowering the price until it eventually sells.
Yeah. I like this process because it only takes me about 5 minutes, and I do it once a week. So I don't stress about like individual listings because I know that, they're in the queue. And then what I do is once a year, I wait till like February because January sales will usually kind of trickle over, like Q4 trickle over. In February, I do a huge purge. I'll go through my stuff, and if I had it for like a year, 2 years, or whatever, and the price has been lowered and nobody wants it, just pull it out, go donate it, or I'll put it, in my shop sale or something for $1 and make room for new stuff. It's like you had your chance, you didn't sell, get out and make room for something that will sell.
Exactly.
I totally agree. All right, I'm going to get into the next one. All right, just hear me out. It's kind of a long question. What are your thoughts on delisting and relisting, and if you feel like it really helps to boost the algorithm? For example, let's say you don't list anything one day and you just delist and relist. Do you think that counts as the same? Do you think that counts the same as listing a new item? What's your thoughts on delisting and relisting, basically?
I've personally never done it, but I've heard people that do it and have success with it. So there might be something to it. I don't know. I don't know that I'll ever do it. Instead of investing that time of delisting and relisting, I'd rather just put an extra listing up.
Yeah.
Add something new that I can make money on. But that's just me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've listened to, live streams and videos where people swear by it and they think it helps them. So, go for it.
Yeah. I will say I use Vendu now, and I've been cross-listing, which is starting to pay off now. It took me a little while to like build my feedback and stuff up on my other stores, but lately I've been like getting Depop and Grailed orders and Mercari, and everything's been kind of really picking up. But on there, they actually have this feature now where you can select up to like, I want to say it's 10 items at a time, and it will automatically delist and relist on up to
Oh, that's
5
cool.
platforms at once. So it will do it all for you within like a few minutes. So
Dang.
pretty cool little feature there. But
Yeah,
anyways,
that's really neat.
Mike, yeah. Why don't you get into the next one, Mike?
All right. So I saw that. Well, we both saw that you were at a like a reselling class type seminar thing this past weekend or 2 weekends ago. I forget when it was, but can you tell us a little more about that? Was it just like one reseller speaking? I forget who you tagged in your story, but was it just them speaking, or was it like a whole like reseller convention type thing?
Yeah, so that was actually a networking group that my
Mm.
friend Tony is part of. So there were real estate agents and lawyers, people representing banks, just all kinds of different trades that are in this regional networking group. I think there was about 25 people there. And he invited me to come because he was the speaker that week. So Tony's a full-time reseller like myself, and he had a slideshow and was, teaching all these people that essentially knew nothing about reselling, like what he does. And it was interesting hearing the questions that they had, their perspective and everything. But yeah, it was really cool. He has a YouTube channel called Flip It Curiously, and he also has a podcast with my brother-in-law Brennan, and it's also called, you know what? I think his YouTube channel is called Flip It Downside Up, and their podcast is called Flip It Curiously.
Because I know I follow him on Instagram. But yeah, I've never heard the podcast. But was everyone taking like the reselling talk seriously, or were they like, you just sell used stuff? Like, were they taking it seriously? Like that's
he had like a 10-15 minute thing where he got to kind of explain what he did. It's pretty informal. Everybody had been there a while. Like I could tell they all knew each other and were cracking jokes and everything. So it was a pretty cool atmosphere.
Yeah, that's good.
But yeah, they let him do his thing, and then they were asking very interesting questions. Like they weren't making fun of it or anything. They're just like, how do you know what to buy and like all this stuff. It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I want to see something real quick. What this looks like.
Oh, there we go. That's pretty good.
Want to keep it where it's at, or keep it like this?
That's good.
That's fine.
I like that big sticker you got in the back there.
I felt like Mike was like way above all this. So it's like, oh yeah, I got that from Sticker Mule actually.
Awesome.
Pretty cool. Let's see. What would your all-time dream garage sale look like?
Dream garage sale?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Garage sale.
So have you guys heard of a toy company called Kenner?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so they were founded in Cincinnati.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I don't think they're in Cincinnati anymore. But like the old Star Wars toys,
Star Wars, yeah,
they're all Kenner. And there's been a few employees, around here that have like sold off some stuff, whether it be like, models or whatever. But yeah, I'd love to go to a Kenner employees garage sale and just like see what they have from the 70s and 80s. It'd be really cool because I know that there's a lot of that stuff here that just hasn't been uncovered. I mean, it's to the point where on Craigslist, there's people they have ads like, did you work for Kenner? Like, I'm buying these toys or trying to find these people, which is pretty interesting.
That's probably the best answer you could have given. I mean, I had no clue. I mean, yeah, I kind of want to come to Cincinnati now and just that would be crazy to just pull up to a garage sale and just I'll take it all.
I'm sure it's going to be in the older neighborhoods, and a lot of like I usually hit neighborhood sales, and a lot are newer neighborhoods, so I might have to make an effort just to go to some of the individual sales in the older parts of town.
You ever sell catalogs like JCPenney catalogs and stuff like that?
Yeah, I sold. I'm trying to think of the one I sold. It might still be in my 90-day. I can try to find it. I sold one catalog. It's like a Pepsi catalog where you like mail in stuff, something. Yeah, 1970s Pepsi Generation catalog. I sold for $24, and then I sold a Spiegel Spring and Summer catalog, which I think is kind of like a JCPenney's.
Yeah,
I got $25 for that. Was that your TikTok, Matt, that you sold those JCPenney catalogs? Man, I saw you walk up to those, and I already had a number in my head of like, yeah, this is about what they're worth. And then you're like, I sold it for this. I was like, what? Like I was totally shocked. Totally shocked.
Yeah, because one of them, the Christmas one, had a bunch of like Kenner toys and stuff in there.
Oh, that's cool.
It had like strawberry shortcake in there, and it also had like GI Joe and Star Wars, and I mean, it was really cool to look at, so I could see why somebody wanted it. But
yeah,
and the other one that I sold for a lot, I don't know what was special about it. Maybe there was a celebrity in there or something. I was really surprised I got that much for that other one. But
how much did you get for it again?
The Christmas one, I think I sold for like $135 or something.
That's nuts, man.
The 1980s ones, if you come across one of those, that's what you want. I've sold 90s and 2000 ones. I sold a 2000 one not too long ago for like $15, which is fine because they're so easy to list and ship. But the 90s ones go up a little bit, but the 80s one seems like average around $45. And then I think there's some from the 70s. I guess they're around then too. But the JCPenney ones, I think, is where it's at. Like the Awards and Sears, they do okay, but they don't bring the same kind of money as that. Anything I was told, anything with the kids' toys in them from like the 80s and older is what you want.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
Yeah, that would be I told myself last year after I found those, me and my girlfriend was like, wouldn't it be great just to go to a garage sale and they had like a whole bookshelf worth of these
right
for like $0.50 a piece or something?
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
So what are your winter sourcing plans? I saw in your most recent videos you were at estate sales. Is that do you have like a stockpile of stuff? Do you have like estate sales lined up? Because I know it's going to be, I mean, it probably already is cold because I know it's cold here. So
yeah, we haven't had any garage sales really to speak of in the last, I don't know, month, 6 weeks. It's been a while. I used to hit thrift stores in the winter. I mean, we're going back like 8 or 9 years. Mm-hmm. I would hit thrift stores pretty hard in the winter, and I would find some stuff, but just not enough really to make it worthwhile. Live auctions used to be a really big one for me. I love going to live auctions, but now as everything's going online, like High Bid. I'm sure you guys have heard of highbid.com. So I'll find a little bit on High Bid. A buddy of mine runs one of the local online places, and he's got a thing on High Bid, so I get a lot from him. And then I do some estate sales. I get a little bit here and there. It's kind of hard to find stuff at those, but they have a lot of bulk buys that I do. Like I've got one coming up, not this week, but next week, where a guy's selling off a lot of his inventory, and I like doing those. I actually bought a big cargo trailer 4 months ago, and it's already paid for itself because I've been doing so many bulk buys where I can just go and fill that thing up at once and get a bunch of inventory.
Do you just pay like by the piece, I guess? Like there's 800 pieces, say, and you pay a flat price, or is it like, is each piece like gone through separately, and like how do you come up with
to just
price,
do a flat price
for such a big
I try to do a flat price because a lot of times they're trying to get a space back. Like they're done with reselling, they're like, I really need my garage back or I need my basement back. So the allure to them is to get stuff out. So I'm kind of taking all of it. I might not actually want all of it or be able to sell all of it, but I'm taking it all out of there. I'll get a number in my head of like the eBay stuff, what I can get for that, and then it's like, well, I can put some of this on my shop sale, and then try to give them roughly half of what I think I can get for it, that kind of thing.
I like it.
Do you actually get caught up on all your listings? I know you buy a lot of stuff. You buy way more than I do. Or do you have like a lot of stuff unlisted? Or?
Yeah, right now I'm pretty well caught up. I think I've got maybe 15 things to list. Like I've been doing a pretty good job of keeping up with stuff. And having my monthly sale really, really helps because like what I've got is I've got this one room because my new place was an old office. So there was kind of like a lobby area, and I've got 2 big racks in there. So when I bring stuff in, that's like my staging area. I leave it there until I figure out what I'm going to do with it. So if it's going to go on eBay, then I'll put it in my eBay room. And if it's not worth putting on eBay, then I'll just go put it up in my shop. So I put tons and tons and tons of stuff in my shop. I've got a handful of local resellers that come and they know it's going to be cheap. and they're going to get a bunch of stuff, and it's great. And I do that once a month. It's just been fantastic. So it's like, if it's only going to bring $10, $15, you know, I don't necessarily want to mess with it for the most part. So I'll sell it for $1 or $2, like just get rid of it and move on to the next thing. And then I've got all my other stuff that I'm putting on eBay that I know will bring $20 or more.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, I will say I've got probably a couple hundred things to list, but before garage sale season started, I was like the kind of person like, no death pile, I don't want it. You know, it's like
It's hard to avoid.
Everything. And then garage sales happened, and it was like I just bought so much stuff, and it's like
Yeah.
still working through it, but I've gotten through. I mean, garage sales ended here probably about the same amount of time, and I've probably gotten through about half of it already. So
That's pretty good.
Having the booth in town, that definitely helps to be able to get a lot of that stuff in there, because I have to. Here it's like I can't. Here it's really hard to find stuff for the booth. Going to thrift stores, it's like I can find some, but it's like, and I don't want to spend that much money on stuff that's going in there really a lot of the time. So
yeah,
for me, I'd rather
sense.
buy as much as I can from that. And hopefully I get some more connections here eventually, you know, buying stuff from people or something, but haven't really had a whole lot of that yet. But I'm going to go ahead and ask you, besides the Kenner stuff that you mentioned, what is something that you love to find, but you've not found it yet?
There's a baseball bat called the Easton Z2K. It is, I guess, about 20 years old at this point, maybe 25 years old. And the legend of this bat has just like grown and grown and grown. Like, I don't know what's so special about it, because it's just an aluminum bat, but supposedly it's just got all kinds of pop, and like people just crush the ball with it. And it used to sell around $1,000, $1,500. But now I think it's going around $700-800, something like that. But I've never found one, and I've been looking for one for close to 20 years now, because I worked at a sporting goods store for a long time, and that's, you know, where I learned a lot of the sporting goods stuff. So like, I've always known about the Z2K, and a friend of mine that worked with me at the store that also resells, he found one at a garage sale for $1, and I'm just like, God damn, like, just so lucky. So yeah, that's my white whale.
Sorry to interrupt. But I remember you talking about the baseball bats and just like the model number, like how it could be one letter or just number off, and it's a difference of hundreds of dollars.
Yeah, that's for sure.
I made a TikTok about an Easton bat that I found. I forget what the model was, but I was leaving the thrift store thinking it was worth, you know, $90 to $115, like extremely happy. And I ended up selling it in like 2 hours for $369, just because the model number. So
was it a red line? Was it Easton red line?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you the better version of that. I found the cheaper version of the red line at the video you're thinking of, where like it was BZ1-C or something, and mine was like
that's what I got, the
BZ1-Z.
now that you say that.
Yeah, and I think mine was like the Z instead of the C, so it was like, this is only $100, but still, anytime I find a red line, you just have to be so careful for the cracks. Like, I spend like a solid 3 to 4 minutes just like looking like everywhere for a crack. Sometimes they're just so small and hard to see. Or like,
before I listed it, I had that thing spinning around on my floor just to make sure it wasn't, you know, bent or warped at all.
Right.
They have so much, you know, stuff on the barrel. You know, it's like it's so hard to tell. You go cross-eyed looking at it, trying to, you know.
Yeah, I'll tell you one thing about the cracks. They always go perpendicular with the barrel, and they usually look like a lightning bolt. So they'll be kind of like jagged. And
oh, really?
When you run your fingernail over it, it'll catch your fingernail. Whereas, like if you see a scratch will be a straight line. Those aren't cracks. But yeah, they can be really tough to find sometimes. Like I can remember working at the sporting goods store for years before I finally got a good eye for catching them. Because people will bring in 20 bats, you know, and you're just like staring at these things. It's like, oh, okay, yep, there's a crack. Like it's tough.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure that working the sporting goods place really helped your knowledge with a lot of that. I have no knowledge whatsoever with sporting goods stuff. I mean, I know to look stuff up when I find it, but like there's a few things like Scotty Cameron putters, you know, other things I always look for, but I think you found one of those before, huh? Scotty Cameron. putters?
I found maybe 3 or 4 over the years. They're pretty tough to find, and usually when you find them, they know what they have, and they'll want
Yeah.
$7,500 for them. Is hockey pretty big out in Sioux Falls, Matt?
Yeah, it is. I don't really know a lot about it, but I have sold some hockey stuff.
The vintage stuff can go for really, really big money. Brands like Jofa, Jofa.
Okay.
They stopped making stuff a while ago, I'm pretty sure. So some of those old helmets can do well, even like, some of
How do
the
you
old
spell
pants,
Jofa?
depending on what they are. What's that?
How do you spell Jofa?
Jofa. I think they
Okay.
stopped making stuff, but yeah, like if I just jumped on eBay right now and searched vintage Jofa helmet, I know those can bring a lot of money. I've even sold some vintage CCM helmets.
Yeah.
They still make stuff, but those can bring some really good money too.
I just
Yeah.
automatically went to like the old style goalie mask whenever you said vintage hockey.
Yeah.
I don't know why that just.
I just searched vintage Jofa helmet on eBay, and one of the first ones, it just looks like a regular old white plastic helmet sold for $265.
Oh wow.
And they look very mundane. There's nothing flashy about them, except that they're vintage and that they're made by Jofa. And there's way more than just that brand. That was just one that stuck out to me. But I would definitely keep an eye out, Matt, because we don't
Okay.
have a ton of hockey stuff here. There's a little bit, but where you are, I bet there's a ton of cool
Yeah.
vintage hockey stuff.
There is, I find a lot of a lot of it's nothing really good that I find, but I'll definitely keep my eye out for it because,
Yeah.
As you're saying that, I'm like going crazy. My the thrift store that's like, there's a store, it's like within walking distance of my house, and they have like 3 shelves in the sporting goods section. The whole top row is all helmets. I've never touched them.
Are you serious? Oh
Yeah,
man.
I'm excited to
Are
go
there
there
any hockey
tomorrow or
ones?
Tuesday or something.
Yeah, you got to check out the hockey ones. I'm a
Yeah.
nerd for sports stuff, man. Like I love sporting
Yeah.
goods because typically you can find it really cheap. Like I
Yeah.
don't remember anybody really saying like, oh, this is worth this much or that much. Most of the time you can get it cheap and flip it for pretty good money. So yeah, if you guys ever could run across that stuff, hit me up. I'll tell you whatever I know
Yeah,
about it.
here the thrift stores, I check the golf clubs and the bats and everything and tennis rackets and all that stuff. But here we do not have a good selection. I've been checking for, since I started. Garage sales are definitely better, but I still play like disc golf. I played that for like 12 years or 13 years. And then I used to play billiards for about 13 years growing up. So I know a lot about pool sticks and disc golf, but that's about it.
Yeah.
But disc golf discs sell really well. Every one that I picked up, I pretty much sold. So if you ever come across those, you don't want the cheap plastic. You kind of have to know what you're
Right.
picking up.
That's mostly what I find. I'll find the champion ones sometimes or the star discs or whatever.
Yeah, those are
My brother-in-law Brennan beat me to a sale by like 5 minutes and got this huge bag of disc golf discs and did really well with them. But yeah, there's definitely money in them. We used to sell those too, but like I find the ones that are worth $10 new. So you got to have a
they're
big
not
bunch
very
of them. There's not much money there.
yeah, the DX plastic, I think it is, or something like
Right?
that.
Yeah. Nobody wants
Yeah,
that.
there's a lot of new companies making them now too. So there's a lot of stuff out there that's
Interesting. Yeah,
hard to really
Innova
know
was
what.
always the big one that we carried, anyways.
Yeah, if you know
Or
the type
Innova,
of
whatever it's called.
plastic, if you know the type of plastic and you know what it feels like, then you can kind of know what's good and what's not good to pick up. I wouldn't spend a lot of money on it. I Last year I picked up a disc golf bag full of disc for like 20 or $30 from someone in town on Facebook Marketplace that used to play, getting rid of them all. There's like 15 discs in there, and I think I sold the bag for like $30 and got my money back. And then all the discs
That's awesome.
I sold them all. But yeah, they always do really good. But Mike, I think you got the next question here, huh?
All right, so it's a bit of a broad question, I guess, but what's an item you're always on the lookout for? You'll pick up 100% of the time, but you don't find it very often. I mean, it could be anything.
A bolo item. What's a bolo item you don't find often, but when you see it, you immediately pick it up?
Oh man.
I'll tell you mine. Mine is a Rainmate.
Oh yeah, I've found one of those.
I don't find them all the time, but when I find them, I always pick that up. So something like that, you know.
Yeah, I'm trying to think here. Let me scroll through my solds, and I can give you guys a good example because nothing's like jumping out at me, anyways. Let's see here.
Like high demand. Those high demand items always sells.
I would say Halloween Department 56.
Yep.
Do you guys already know about Department 56?
Yep.
Yeah. I
So
don't know if you. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I just bought a bunch of it, and I really don't like messing with that stuff. It's a pain in the butt because, in my experience, 75% of the time it's chipped, it's missing pieces, it's broken, the light doesn't work. There's just problems with it,
Yeah.
and you're just getting it in and out of styrofoam. It's just kind of a headache, and most of them are worth $20. Like you're lucky if you're getting $30 or more, but the Halloween ones go for hundreds. I keep mentioning my brother-in-law Brennan, the Curious Picker, but he recently bought a huge bunch of Halloween Department 56, and he's been making a killing on those. Halloween does so well; it outperforms Christmas. It does really
For
good
sure
on eBay.
I've sold several Department 56 mugs. Like I've never found
Really?
any sort of like decorations or anything, but I've sold several mugs. Always like
I didn't know
upwards
they had
of
mugs.
$15 to $20 plus shipping.
Interesting. Yeah, I didn't even know they had mugs.
Yeah, the last one I sold, I think I sold it $24 plus 8 shipping. It was just a pug, like a dog, and it had like googly eyes. That's it. And it was just super expensive, and I have no clue why.
That's funky.
That's what I love about doing. That's what I really inspired me to do these little podcast shows, because I feel like we can all learn something from everybody, and this will really help a lot of other people out there too. So definitely enjoy this. Let's see. All right, including estate sales, moving sales, all that stuff. How many garage sales do you think you go to a year? Would you say?
Oh my God. Here, I'll bust out the calculator and do a little bit of math.
I went
let's
over
see.
1,000 this year.
I'd say 7 months out of the year, I hit the garage sales pretty hard and heavy because we've got pretty good garage sales for maybe 7 months of the year. So most weeks I go 3 days a week. I'll go Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Obviously, my time or whatever, I can maybe hit 30 or 40 in a day just because like I'll hit a neighborhood sale and there could be like 20 sales just in that. So I'll say on average like 50 a week, 200 times. I'd say over 1,000 sales a year for sure. Maybe close to 1,500. Yeah. We have so many neighborhood sales. I mean, from like May through September, there's more neighborhood sales than you could possibly hit. And most of them have an average of like 10 houses.
It makes me so anxious because here in Pittsburgh, it's like the garage sales, yard sale type things. They're so few and far between. It's like
really
when there is one, it's so packed. Here, I think it's more like flea market style, like everyone gather in a big parking lot and sell all your stuff instead of like the garage sale type thing. So
next year I'm going to look up in Pittsburgh and see if I can put a list together for you and see what I can find.
I still won't go.
You'd be surprised what you can find. I make so much more money from garage sales than thrift stores.
Because the cost of goods, I mean, you can't.
Garage sales worth that.
You can't beat them.
Yeah, it's got the best ROI of anything.
We have one neighborhood sale here, and it's 400 houses through the garage sale.
Holy crap.
Normally it's 400 houses every time, but this past year, because of COVID, it was only 350. But I went for like 2 days, and it was like every other house. You could just walk down the street. Like you go, like you park the car and you hit like a good radius, and then you get in your car and you go to the next little corner. And man, it was crazy.
That's wild. That sounds fantastic.
I wouldn't say it's like, I wouldn't say I just like scored crazy, because I feel like maybe these houses, they do it every year and it's probably the same stuff.
There's not a ton of stuff.
but it's definitely convenient. I mean, you can definitely hit a lot, and there's definitely money to be made. So
Interesting.
but here it's here a lot of people think it's crazy. Our biggest garage sale day here is like Wednesday and Thursday.
That is weird. I've never heard of Wednesday garage sales.
And I love it because everybody's at work. So
Right.
I'm like,
Yeah,
there's
that's
not a lot
awesome.
of, yeah, but here it's like, there's some garage, like they'll start on Wednesday. I know like Saturday or Sunday. They rarely start on
Jeez.
Friday and Saturday. Like there are some that start, but I can hit like 20 or 30 on like a Wednesday and Thursday. And then
Mm-hmm.
Friday, I may find like 10, and then Saturday is like 5. You know, it's crazy.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, we
definitely crazy.
Cincinnati doesn't have Thursday sales, but I can go up to Dayton. That's like a 30-minute drive north for me, and they have a lot of Thursday sales. So I always go up there and get 3 pretty solid days of sales.
Thursday sales.
All right, Mike, I'll let you take the next one.
All right. So with your first TikTok being under your belt, what's your best trash day find?
Oh man, that's a good one.
We actually made it a 2-question answer. What's your
Yeah.
best trash day find of all time, and most profitable flip of all time?
I'm trying to think of what my best trash day find would be. I've gotten some good dumpster finds over the years too. I don't specifically dumpster dive, but I'll get cardboard boxes out of dumpsters. So while I'm at the cardboard dumpster, it's like I'll go ahead and peek into the other dumpster, and like I've pulled out some really good stuff. I remember a Party City throwing out a bunch of Halloween costumes that I got one time. Specifically trash day, my best find, a couple that come to mind. Somebody threw out a weight bench, like an incline decline bench. I flipped for $75. Somebody threw out this like portable net. I knew what it was as soon as I saw it. It's this big, massive net that like condenses down, and people like hit baseballs into it and stuff. And I sold that for $50. That VCR that I just got in my TikTok, I sold that for $40 plus shipping, and it worked perfectly. The TV didn't work, unfortunately, but I was kind of figuring that anyway. Yeah, it didn't work. Best flip of all time, I guess the most profitable one. I got a Fender amplifier at a live auction. So this has been probably 3 years. It was from the 60s. I paid like $150 for it. And when I plugged it in, it started smoking from the back. I'm sure it needed new tubes. So I disclosed all of that.
For it?
Yeah, $150 for it, $160. I disclosed everything. I ran an auction starting at $1 and it sold for $1,400.
Wow.
Nice.
Just because it was, a vintage Fender amplifier. So it had some pretty good value.
Even as is, just
as is, yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I think people were storing them, get them like they were originally.
Last year, or right around the time I first moved here, I was like, around the time I started garage selling and watching your channel and stuff, I was looking on Facebook Marketplace one day and I saw this like bagel bread slicer for sale. This restaurant was closing down because of COVID, and they were just doing like catering. So they're trying to like sell off some restaurant equipment. So I went and I picked up this bagel slicer, which I still have. I paid $50 for it. It's like a $400 bagel slicer, but finding someone who needs a bagel slicer is like really, I need to just put it back on eBay. I really didn't want to ship it. Yeah. Anyways, while I was there, they had this machine called a dough rounder. You know what a dough rounder is?
A dough router?
Rounder. It was a Douyin DR45 dough rounder.
No, I don't know what that
is. Yeah, I have no clue either.
It's this machine, basically. A lot of like pizza restaurants use it to have like the wood fire oven, and you can roll up a dough ball and drop it down this machine, and it runs around the spiral like on the outside, and it pops out a perfect dough ball. So you can do anything from like I want to say like I think the smallest you can do is like I can't remember the smallest you can do, like 4 or 5 ounces to like 32 ounces or something or so. But anyways, if you can have someone dropping dough balls down and someone catching them and do like 800 an hour or something like that. Like, it's a beast of machine. Crazy. But so he had this one for sale. He's asking like $1,500. And I looked it up online. It was like he bought it brand new and he only used it to test on, and he ended up like never using it. And I looked it up, and brand new, they're like $10,500 for one. I was like, holy crap. So I knew if it was used, I was like, maybe I can get like 6,500 for it. So I took a gamble. I gave him $1,300. I made him offer $1,300, like 200 less. And I sat on it for like a couple weeks. I mean, a couple months. And I kept getting people like sending me like $3,000 offers, which was good. But I was really trying to get more. Took a lot longer to sell because it's like really a niche market for it.
Right.
But I ended up selling it for $4,100. So paid $1,300.
How much?
4,100. So
dang, that's awesome. That's a great flip.
That was right before garage sale season, and I really didn't have a lot of money like for garage selling. So that was like that just like filled my pockets for going crazy for garage selling pretty much.
Now, how
That's
heavy
killer,
was
man.
the machine?
It wasn't really that heavy, but I don't know. If I were to come across one again, I'd probably try to get it for a little less because I had it in my garage for a while. I was really worried something was going to fall on it. I had so much money invested into it.
Yeah.
And it just took a long time to sell, but they do make parts for it, but they're really expensive. So like just, you could probably sell for parts, but it'd probably take forever to sell. But yeah, it was a good flip, but I spent a lot of money on it, so it's definitely like had me worried for a while. All right, let's see. All right, your wife has a YouTube channel and a TikTok. I was going to wonder if you could tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so our channel is called Be the Village, and she's had that. Gosh, it's been, I want to say like 3 years. I'm curious. I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna like find what her first video was because it's been a pretty long time. And I was doing the videos with her kind of at the beginning. We were basically just chronicling our journey of becoming foster parents and the whole thing. And it's like taking off on this big thing, and like she's making all videos, and she's done a great job with it. Her TikTok is the same as Be the Village. Her TikTok specifically, I think her goal is to just bring awareness to the need of foster parents. And the videos I just go more into that basically. Yeah, it was 3 years ago that we did our first video. I'm looking now. That's wild.
Oh wow, yeah.
And how's the
again?
What's that?
What's the channel called again?
Be the Village.
Be the Village. Okay. And it's same on TikTok and YouTube?
Yeah.
Cool. I'll have to go check it out.
Now, is there like a community atmosphere in like the foster family, like YouTube and TikTok and stuff? Is there like, kind of like we have here as resellers?
Yeah, there definitely is. Huge community.
Yeah.
That's what's so interesting about, YouTube and TikTok to me is like, take anything like billiards we were talking about. Like, I'm sure there's a huge billiard YouTube community. Like whatever it is you're interested in, like you can find like-minded people.
Yeah, really hard. It is hard to, believe, but there really is it seems to be a community for everything. I got my start selling Pokemon cards. There was a huge community for that. And then like, I want to sell more stuff. So then I started, posting about used shoes and this and used toys and video games. And then there was a community for that. It's just so, it's weird how the internet kind of, brings everyone together, tears them apart. It's just a very weird place.
Yes, it is.
So we're actually about right at an hour. So that's actually pretty good timing. I think we're down to the last question, actually.
Yeah.
All right.
For anyone getting into reselling, I'm sure you've heard this question a few times, but for anyone getting into reselling, what advice would you give them?
Well, the patented advice a lot of people give is just by like starting to sell what's around your house. Don't go spend a bunch of money on product. Just see what you've got that you want to get rid of and list it on eBay and ship it and see if you even like it before you go waste a bunch of money. I've talked to so many people that get right into it and they go buy a pallet of returns for like $1,000. I'm like, please don't do, like, what are you doing? Don't do that, guys. Don't spend your money. Don't waste a lot of money on stuff because it's just such a big risk, and it's a lot bigger risk if you don't know what you're looking at and you don't have experience with that stuff. So start small. There is a wealth of free knowledge on TikTok and YouTube. There are so many people to learn from. So just soak it all in, go small, and don't spend a lot of money at first.
Yep.
Perfect.
That's pretty much the same answer I always have on everything as well, because I feel like that's really the best advice. Because I think a lot of people they go out and spend a lot of money at the thrift store, and then they get overwhelmed. Like, I don't know how to ship this, and they just invested a lot of money, and then it's like they need that money, and it's like, just find
Yeah, you got to build up slow. I remember just spinning in circles in my house, just looking for stuff that I haven't touched in 2-3 months.
Yeah.
Looking at the pots and pans, like, oh, I haven't used this one. Trying to make lots of just anything. Because I wasn't really sure I wanted to commit to the whole like thrifting and just constantly sourcing. But that's perfect advice. Sell stuff that's around your house.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm gonna have you do one other thing, and then I'll probably put you in the back, and then if you want to hang out for a minute, and then we'll come talk to you. We'll finish out the show. But I'm just gonna let you know, or just have you tell everybody about your YouTube channel, and we're on TikTok now, and Instagram. If you want to share your channel names and all that stuff, so everybody knows where to find you at.
Yeah, so I am on YouTube. I'm Cincinnati Picker. On TikTok, I'm pretty sure it's Cincy Picker, Cincy Picker, and there is an entire catalog of one video on TikTok. So you'll definitely want to go check that out. I mean, been making a ton of stuff. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with the TikTok yet. I'm kind of just a lurker watching everybody else's videos. But that's where you can find me.
And then Instagram is Cincinnati Picker as well?
Cincinnati Picker, yep.
All right, cool. All right, well, thank you so much for coming on the show. It's been a pleasure having you on here, and hopefully maybe we'll do this again sometime.
Thanks you very much.
Me, guys. This was awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. All right, we'll see how to... All right, see ya. All right. Well, that was a good little show we had there. So I guess we will be having the show first week of every month, and then we'll just kind of post about it and then let everybody know once it's posted. So make sure to subscribe to the channel if you want to keep up with this. And Mike, you got anything left to say?
I don't have anything left to say.
I know, Mike, you're on TikTok as well, Jiggly Thrift, and Instagram and YouTube, right? Yep, same with me.
So I guess I did have something to say.
Yeah. Well, I hope everybody enjoyed this, and we'll see you back again soon. Peace. Bye, everybody.